name is Mike Zaremba, and I am one of the owners here at Float House. Float House is a float center which houses sensory deprivation tanks, and we have 5 sensory deprivation tanks here. We opened up earlier this year in May, and we're the only one of its kind right now in Vancouver, and we're excited to be a part of this community. Well, a sensory deprivation tank is something that's been around actually for a long time. It's basically it's a large container about the size of like a standalone refrigerator at your home or something like that. Yeah. It's got about 10 inches of water. You put 900 pounds of Epsom salts into the solution, and that creates a very dense solution where you can float effortlessly in. The water is heated to the same temperature as the surface of your skin, so when you float into it and you settle into it, you don't really feel the water too much anymore. It's pitch black inside, you can't see anything, and your ears are underwater with earplugs, so you can't hear anything. So the purpose in the environment is to minimize as much sensory input coming into your nervous system as possible. My immediate draw to the float tank was the recovery purposes. You know, the fact that you do flush out all these stress hormones and catabolic agents in your body and let your body really recover, replenish, it increases circulation, all your muscle tension goes away, you know, and all your joints kind of get to relax and separate and spread out, and things get to breathe a little bit more, like, you know, the body breathing almost, if you will. Like, that's when things get to really relax. But then on the psychological side, I mean, since you are in such a relaxed state, I know guys like Pat Healy is very fond of using the float tank because I actually know the owners of the float center that he uses, and he does it a lot for visualization exercises and then just calming yourself before any type of bout that you're going to have. You know, it's a lot of guys will do it the night before, the day before, and just really calm themselves down because there's so much going on, and you feel like your mind keep going in that direction. It's just going to start tapping yourself out. But when you can go in this environment and force yourself to relax, because that's what the environment does, it puts you into a state of relaxation, then you know, it's just better for your body. You're not burning excess energy through anxiety or nervousness or worry or whatever. And the biggest person that's gotten the word out there for this new resurgence, at least in North America, is Joe Rogan, you know, which is why I think the MMA community has been introduced to it kind of earlier on than most people. You know, like part of our marketing, we market towards a lot of yogis because we know that they're able to be in that similar state and probably more open to this type of thing. But we are getting this interest by the MMA community largely because of Rogan and his podcasts and hearing him speak of it and you know, just people getting connected through him, through the UFC and through MMA. And so that's why, you know, a big part of this whole resurgence is because of the internet and the virality of some of those videos that he didn't even put together. Some people did, and that's creating, you know, people just hear about it, you know what I mean? There's so much that can like impact a float. The biggest thing is to just show up. There's lots of little tips and techniques that you can do that you can find online, either through our website or, you know, other float informational sites, and how to kind of optimize your experience. Things like, you know, timing your digestion, what you eat before you come, the time of day that you come, what did you do just before you came in here? Did you exercise? Did you train? Or are you coming from work? Or what's the deal? You know, so all those things are going to impact your float. But you know, just show up for one thing, go in, and the first time you go in, it's such an alien environment, it's going to take time for most people to relax. So just getting in there, getting used to the environment, getting yourself mentally in there as well, and just letting it do its thing. Give it a couple of chances to let it do its thing on your body, you know. So it's there's definitely a learning curve and an accumulation effect with floating. All right, guys, come on here. I just want to show you the rooms we got. We have 5 rooms, so we do have floats starting every hour on the hour. All floats are 90 minutes, and just to kind of give you an idea of what we got going on here. You know, they're pretty efficient rooms, but they definitely do the job. So you come in here, it's completely private. You have a private shower that you'll use before and after your float, and where you bathe off thoroughly. We're trying to get as much body oils and scents off your body. And then you just simply open up and head on in. And we you know, definitely recommend the full sensory deprivation experience by closing the door, no music or anything like that, but there are options for people that do have a little claustrophobic issues. But at the end of your float, when 90 minutes is up, we cue you out with some music. So when the music comes on, you just take a few minutes, bring some movement back into your body, come on out, rinse off, get dressed, and then just come chill in the front for some tea and water and just take it easy. So that's what we got going on here.
It was way better than the first time. I know the first time I went in there, I didn't know what to expect. I'm going in this big, like, space-looking, contraption, and I'm lying in there, and I'm like, okay, my brain wasn't turning off. I was floating, and it was nice and everything, but I just couldn't. I had a tough time, turning off the thoughts, turning off my brain. But the second time, I got in there right away, and I was just like, big deep breath, and I was able to ride the float, as you say, and you know what? It was a great experience. It always feels like you're in there for less time than you really are. It's a full 90 minutes, and but I go in there and then I start. I don't know if it's meditating. I just turn my brain off. I turn things off and I focus on little things. I get creative. I start thinking about creative stuff, and just it's a great way to come up with ideas. And so that's sort of what my experience is, and it's a kind of a personal experience. So here you are in all the hustle and the bustle of the world, and then you go into the float house here in Vancouver, and you're able to lie down in the water and just kind of leave all of this behind.
The first time I heard about floating was on the Joe Rogan podcast, probably a couple years ago now, and wanted to try it ever since, and I found out there's one coming to Vancouver, so I started doing it. For a fighter, I think it's pretty important to get your mental game under control, and there's nothing really like walking into a cage in front of a whole bunch of people, and it's a pretty nerve-wracking feeling, and it's pretty hard to get your nerves under control when you're trapped in a cage. So being trapped in a little tiny black room, I think, is pretty good practice on just getting your nerves ready for a fight. No, for sure, I plan to use it a lot. I think it's good for visualization. You don't have any sensory input coming in, so you can really just allow your brain to drift and see things a little better. Sometimes it's hard to visualize a fight when you got people walking around, or you're on the SkyTrain, or in the busyness of life, but when you're in the tank, it's kind of nice to just be with yourself and see what you're thinking. Yeah, I think it's important for everyone to do it. I think a lot of people in today's world are pretty connected with the internet, and they're never just with themselves and seeing what they think. They're always checking their phone to see what they should think or what's happening around the world, but they don't even know what's happening inside their own body. So I think it's definitely something that everyone should do. I think you definitely have to have a good understanding of it before you're really getting the full benefit of it. So I don't think if you're doing it one time the week of the fight for your first time, it's going to be a huge benefit. But if you've done it a bunch and you understand how to go in and shut your brain off and really get your full benefits, I think it's definitely something you want to do, like weekly at least, I would think. I thought I had a really good understanding of it, and for some reason I thought I was just going to be a prodigy at zoning out, but it's definitely something you have to get used to. You're in a little tiny tank full of salt water, and it's kind of weird at first, even for someone who's used to being in weird places. My name is Micah Brakefield, and I fight for Battlefield Fight League at middleweight.